Hey there. Hey, I just wanted to reach out with today's new topic. I just realized I've got my glasses on, but the sun's behind me, so maybe it'll be okay. We'll see. Anyway, hey, listen, I just wanted to touch base real quick. I've had feedback recently that coaching is something that I might be good at. I don't know about all that. I guess I do like to help, solve problems, evaluate and analyze that kind of stuff. But what, let me ask you this question, right? If you've ever used a coach or ever considered using a coach, what, there are limitations, aren't there? Right? For example, if you want a really good coach, they might cost a fair amount of money, right? And your ability to invest in coaching might be limited by your financial resources, or they might be in such high demand that they're only available on a very limited schedule, very limited basis, right? They can only be at one place at one time. So if they're consulting or coaching with somebody else, they might not have time for you. Does that make sense? But what if I told you that there is a coach that can be with you on demand with a moment's notice, wherever you are, and it'll cost you nothing but your time, right? Would that be interesting to you? It was to me. And I want to share a little story, a little testimony of what happened back in 2016. I was working with a new company. I had started with this new company at the end of 2015, and they offered me an opportunity to participate in a program called The Smallest Winner. And this was a weight loss competition. And at that time in my life, I had surpassed a threshold, a weight that I sort of unofficially promised myself years prior that I would never cross, right? Well, stress and change and all this kind of stuff, it really rocked my world. And all of a sudden, my weight was just going up and up and up and up. And I didn't know what to do. I was kind of freaking out, quite honestly. And I knew that was the program I needed to get on board with because I needed help. I was proving that I wasn't able to do it myself. I needed some guidance and some assistance. So with that, I ended up talking to the Lord. I just had this little time with the Lord, and I said, Lord, I'd really like to do that. And I'm going to need you to be my personal trainer, my coach. No joke. And with that, I went ahead and I signed up, did the application. They made you do a paper and a video application. And it was intense. It was a 12-week, 12-week schedule, working out 6 days a week, completely changing the nutritional aspect of my life. And it was crazy. It was intense. But I knew that I had to do it. So I went ahead, signed up, and I said, God, but you're going to have to coach me. You're going to have to help me through the different excuses that I might want to give, what do I want to say? All the limits I might place on myself, and sleeping in, not wanting to go to a workout, not showing up for a class, or having a hard time with the nutritional changes, so on and so forth. And I'm telling you what, God was faithful. He showed up big time. As a matter of fact, I mean, even in just the little ways, like we were in the gym and we would do planks, where you're down on your toes and your elbows or your hands, and you're just holding yourself straight like a board, really working your core. And they would require us to do it for X amount of time, right? So many minutes and what have you. So as I was doing that, and my body was quivering, shaking, because my core was out of shape significantly, all of a sudden the Lord spoke to me in that still small voice, and he said, "You can go another 10 seconds. You can go. You're 20 seconds from done." Right? He would just whisper these things to me and just encourage me. We had a walking path out behind our office, and we were doing run walks, right? So we'd jog a little bit, and we'd walk a little bit, and we'd jog a little bit, and we'd walk a little bit. And throughout that process, I was not a runner, still am not, but even to jog certain distances that were not very long was a really big challenge for me. So, but I found as I was going along, there were different objects along the cart path, like there was a bench, or there was an overpass for a waterway, things like this. And the Lord would just speak to me. He'd be like, I was ready to quit. And he said, "Surely you can make it up to that bench. Surely you can make it up to that next marker along the way." And I'm just telling you that God is faithful. When we put our full faith, hope, and trust in him, and we invite him into the things that we're engaged in, and we demonstrate our reliance and dependency on him, he's faithful to help us. He's faithful to meet with us and talk with us and listen to us, whether we're making excuses or complaints or just wanting to thank him. It's awesome. So he always shows up. He doesn't charge you anything except your time and your trust. So I just wanted to share this and encourage you that if you're facing some kind of a challenge, or you believe that God's asked you to do something and you have no idea how to do it, here's what you do. You look to John chapter 15, the Gospel of John, chapter 15 and verse 7. And he says, "If my words abide in you," or if you abide in me, rather, right? You dwell in me, and my words, the words I've spoken to you, like if I've given you something to do, right? Then ask me whatever it is you wish concerning what I've spoken to you, and I will do it. So let me give you another example real quick. There was a time when he was asking me to go into this assisted living facility, and I didn't want to because I didn't know why. He didn't give me the why. So I put it off for 2 months. Excuse me, I'm spitting. Anyway, he wanted me to go in there, and I didn't know why. And so finally a couple months go by, and I had listened to this guy share a testimony about, look, when fear rises up in you, that is the devil. It's like you're sitting across the card table and you've got one opponent, and it's the devil. And he just revealed his hand to you, right? And he's got nothing. He's got no hand. It's awful. So you have to call his bluff. And the next morning, I remember telling the Lord, I said, "Lord, that was an amazing testimony. Thank you for, sharing that with me from this guy last night." I said, "Please teach me to never hesitate when you tell me to do something again." Wouldn't you know it, 90 seconds later, I was driving by that assisted living place, and he said, "Well, when are you going to go in there?" And I knew what he was talking about. So I turned around and I said, "Well, I guess right now, Lord." So I turned around and I was driving back toward that place, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to need 2 things. First, I'm going to need to know or find somebody that's receptive to me coming in to offer to do a men's Bible study. And second, as I pulled it in parked, I said, they're going to ask me, how often do you want to do this?" So I just waited on him, and he said, "Monthly." Just matter of fact, single word, monthly. I was like, okay. So I went in, Couldn't find anybody. Walking through the lobby, I was getting kind of frustrated and about to walk back out the door when I noticed a little office with a window, and there were a couple of people in there. So I poked my head in. I forgot all kinds of etiquette and manner, and I just walked in and I said, I don't know about all this. All I know is I'm supposed to be here to offer to do a men's Bible study. Is there anybody that would be receptive to that? And the general manager was sitting at the desk eating a breakfast sandwich from McDonald's. She put it down on the desk and she stood up really straight and her eyes got big and she said, "That's weird." And I'm thinking, what? She said, "Just yesterday we had the women's monthly Bible study meeting and one of the residents came up afterward and was bawling me out." She said, you know, the lady was really frustrated and said, "Why don't we do this Bible study for the women? Why don't we do anything like this for the men?" And she said, "Listen, we're governed by the Equal Housing Authority or whatever it's called." And she said, "We can't go out and solicit somebody to come in, but if somebody were to stop in and offer to do a men's Bible study, we'd support them. We'd print off flyers, we'd get them distributed, and we'd encourage people to come. We'd provide you a place." I said, "Awesome." And the very next question she asked me was verbatim what I said the Lord, they're going to ask me. She said, "How often would you want to do that?" And I said, "Did you say that you do the women's Bible study monthly?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Monthly sounds good." It was awesome. And she said, "When would you like to start?" I said, "I could start as early tomorrow, Thursday." And she said, "Well, normally Thursdays are good times for us, but tomorrow we're going to have like half of our residency out in the park having a lunch." I said, "Well, what if I would just happen to show up, introduce myself, or have you introduce me, and offer to do this men's Bible study to see if anybody'd be receptive to that?" And she grabbed a little piece of paper and a pencil, and she asked me, "What would you like for lunch?" So it was awesome. I really wanted to share this with you because God, He is an amazing coach and He's faithful to His word. And if He asks us to do something and we've been abiding in Him and we hold on to the thing He asked us, we can absolutely 100% with confidence ask Him for whatever we need and He will do it. Be encouraged by this today. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.